Hello to all you. We're back. This is going to be the creation of page 18. 18, right? Yeah, 18. Whoops. We're getting to the end of this story slowly but surely. Um, let's see. Sort of at this point, we're turning the. I'm here. I am referring to myself in the third person. Uh, let's see. Let's undo that. Um, Basically, what I'm doing is about half this book is going to be the fight scene. Or I should say, is going to be. It is. We've spent a chunk of this book on sort of the love story, or the love lost story, I should say. Between, or I should say, with Elliot. So I'm going to give you. Uh, da, 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 da. Yeah, kind of forgive me here. I'm like, oh, this one. Here we get sort of the I don't know if you want to call them the money shots. Where this story, or I should say, this series isn't about, strangely enough, isn't about growth. Since we're not going to get growth, basically, like the money shots, so to speak, are sort of the big guys beating up on the smaller bad guys. Sort of like an aftermath of the growth kind of idea. Um, okay, there we go. Had the issue with sleeve wasn't completely around the arm, so I was trying to get the smoothing modifier to work. The downside with this is that these pages don't have a lot of dialogue. So there's not a lot to do while waiting for these pictures to render. Um, yeah, I guess that's good. What we want to do is get the idea that he's running out. The previous page we see his jock buddies beating up, or I shouldn't say beating up, it's been a two-way street, so they've been fighting with Rusty and Elliot while he's been um, talking with BJ, who's giving him the, like, you're either with us or against us speech thing, and he's convinced BJ to let him go, so now so the idea is that the other two are gonna feel betrayed, but they're gonna fight on, and then we're gonna find out that it's not Rusty and Elliot he betrayed. You know, you sort of get like that twist climax where he ends up sort of being the hero to them. But it's this kind of waiting, I think, is why I haven't really done a lot of videos for this part. This is only the second video for this part, and it's already page 18. Kind of because there's not a lot to see on screen. And what might end up happening is these end up getting cut. We basically just like skip over the wait times between each of the pictures, which wouldn't really leave much for you guys to sit and watch. So I think that's the reason why I haven't been creating videos on this work. And the other side too, it's like all throughout this, like you hear me making excuses in previous videos for why this is taking so long. And with like this part, I think I was having sleep issues the first week, and now here we are, week 2, and we're still like nearing the end, and it's these fight scenes are taking longer because the idea is most of the time you can kind of sort of speed up the work when you get the talking head things going, and all you're doing is making subtle changes between panels. You can pretty much whip up a page relatively quickly, but here I'm basically staging entire scenes for each panel. Oops. I still got that in the clipboard, huh? Um, so maybe this won't be light on visual content as I think, but the idea is that there's a lot of time going into setting up each individual panel rather than just quickly making the subtle changes and rendering off the new image. While I'm here, let me save this as page 18. 18, there we go. So you'll see here we've got we've got this set up from the previous page. And what I'm going to do is unparent this panel, this palette. And let's see. I'm going to go. Oh, okay. I'll just Control D that to get it to the floor. And let's kind of move it out of the way here. Oops. And spin it that way and make sure it's not in the stair. Okay. Um, the temptation I have with doing like these fight scenes is like, and this is kind of me personally. I don't know how how like anybody else is like this, but the temptation for me personally is to kind of show each gradual step of the fight. You know, so there's the temptation to show him setting up the punch, carrying through on the punch, etc., etc. When really all you want to see is the punch. Um, oh, actually, these hands, I sort of manipulated each finger, so we've got to delete the keys on the fingers. Delete the keys. Actually, let's delete the key in the hand too. Let's see. I'm thinking. I'm thinking this doesn't need to be a perfect setup. I don't think I really need to have his hand perfectly holding this generic jock, because this is going to be a one-off scene, and I'm not going to see a lot. There's going to be a lot that's hidden. So, um, let's see, leg spread. Let's see. Oops, I want to make it look like he's dangling a bit. Oh, And what I want to do, come on, grab the leg. There we go. Is, well, he's distracted with Chase running away. He's going to come up and strike him over the back of the head. And the question is, I don't really want him using the dolly again. But that folding chair is a nice possibility for something different. Just because we've already used the dolly, so even though it would make sense, right? You know. Hmm. Um, let's see. Okay, so that chair is here. Where is the chair? There it is. I suppose I should be paying closer attention. Um, let's zero that out. Let's see. Problem is, I can't just put it in his hands and then reposition him how I need him. Because the chair will only move in relation to the one body part it's parented to. So so if I parent it to the right hand, then once I parent him, or once I position him, then I've got to fix the left hand. Um, so the idea is either I position him how I need to first, and then work the chair into that, or just parent the chair to his hand, and then position him, and then fix the left hand from there. I think that I may just do that. And yeah, I know I'm mumbling here. I don't know if you can really hear what I'm saying. You should just turn up the volume. It's kind of like funny, not haha funny, but I hope you know what I mean. But I think was I talking about the coronavirus in the last video, and now that it's like in the area and more people are getting tested, it like seems like the cases are getting closer and closer. Um, So, like on the noon news, they just reported um, a parent whose kid attends a school just a few miles from here. It's like, oh no, it's getting close. And you start like, oh my gosh, I just drove by that school a couple of days ago. Like, you know, and then it's like, well, whoops, what the heck? Oh, the chair is attached to the forearm, not the hand. Okay, you gotta come up. So it's like it's been warming up. So like all the seasonal, like the seasonal sniffling and whatever is like was kind of letting up, and then all of a sudden, like you hear that, and it's like, oh no! All of a sudden, you start feeling like a little frog in the throat, and it's like, oh god, now the psychosomatic is coming. He's like, oh god, the psychosomatic reaction to hearing this in the area that it's getting close. Oh boy. So it's like you get the little frog in your throat, and then that like contributes to the sniffling and let's see. Oh god. Hmm. Oh, let's see. No. Oh, he's gonna go that way. Okay. Yeah, here's where I have to try and match this up to the chair. Maybe. Okay. I guess I'm not gonna twist it anymore without turning off limits. And I'm not ready to do that yet. So we're getting there. This is getting close. Maybe that's it. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Now we can. Oh shoot, I don't have these set up as favorites, so since I keep using him. Oh no, he is favorited. What I must have been on currently used instead. Um And now we can kind of, come on, grab the leg. There we go. So twist it out. That looks good, right? Okay. 85. So you see, that took way longer than than some of the easier pages that you can just kind of cheat. So we're gonna add this. And it's like, I guess we're lucky here in the States. Um, as of when I'm recording this, what are they? I think, what are they talking like? 2,000. I think 2,000 people have been infected or have tested positive, I should say. Out of a country of 300 and something million. As opposed to a country like Italy, where it's just where like from what it sounds to us here in the States, listening to it on the news, it sounds like it's out of control. And now it's like we're hearing it's going into Germany. Heck, no. Oops, I got distracted there. Okay, let's start this over. Select invert, select shrink, invert, edit, cut. Okay, that's it. Merge down and select none. See, there we go. So it's like this has kind of gotten to be like what you see in these kind of movies where the outbreak happens and it just like quickly spreads all over the globe, and it's like it's going to be everywhere in a matter of 72 hours. And it's like, and this is like we're seeing it in real life, and that's kind of, I guess that's kind of what's scary is like we've already seen it in our fiction and now it's happening for real. Everyone's like, oh my god. It's like I hope all of you are like kind of safe from this. But I guess if there's one silver lining, it's that we're hearing that it's not really infecting children, which is weird. But at least like we're not going to have little kids dying from this. Like you see with the flu or like measles or any of the other like millions of illnesses out there that kill people. But still, it's like you kind of can't really imagine what it's like in Italy, where probably like an entire city is just quarantined. Although I guess in New York, they're talking. I guess in New York, they're like kind of doing that with a New York City suburb called New Rochelle. Now it's like supposed to be kind of this entire mini city quarantined. And like not to get political here for a moment, but where we've got like as of now, our three top candidates in the presidential election are all over 70. You've got Donald Trump, um, Joe Biden, the front runner on the Democratic side, and Bernie Sanders, who's like I think despite the media trying to claim his campaign is over, like he's still close enough behind, and it's still early enough that if something happens to Joe Biden, if Joe Biden's campaign falls apart, he could still see a resurgence. So even he is, so I'll like say as of the moment I'm recording this, I would say he's still viable despite what media says, but even he's like almost 80, and it's like where and let's see, what do I want to do with him? It's like where they say this thing is like affecting the elderly the worst. Just like the flu, it's mostly the elderly that are like getting hit the hardest and dying from this. Like we could stand a very real chance of watching our presidential candidates just like all contracting the virus, and not to sound crass or mean, and I'm not wishing it on any of them, but I mean, we could realistically see them dying from this before we ever hit the election. Like, and and I'm not laughing because it's funny, but I think it's like I said before, if you kind of don't laugh, you go the other way, and it's just hits you hard. But I mean that goes into the sort of one of the arguments into what kind of a candidate the Democrats should have been electing. That maybe they shouldn't have been looking at a senior citizen. So like if Trump gets knocked out, then their candidate is still young, is young and healthy, and can weather it, and can kind of take advantage of the weakened side. Let's control D. Let's see if he's on the floor. Um, one of the problems I'm having with this fight scene, to kind of get back to this, and try not to make this too maudlin. Um, One of the problems I'm having is I'm having too much fun having them fight, and they're basically just sitting in this little corner of the warehouse where I don't want it to sound like I put too much effort into this, but I did create this entire environment with junk everywhere, shelving everywhere, that they really the intention was always to have them running around, and for like 4 or 5 pages or however many it's been now, they're it's just like all the action has been sitting in this corner of the warehouse. Whoops. Um, he must be at an angle. Let's see. Yep. Got him. Zero these out. And we will stand him up. But then again, I was going to say, because I'm getting sick of creating these environments, which isn't quite true, because I'm not really sick of. I'm not sick of creating these environments. It's kind of fun, actually. I guess it's what I'm sick of is sort of creating these environments for the little use that they're getting. So, it's I guess I'm sick of putting the work into this and for an environment that we're not going to see all that much in the grand scheme of things. Like, you're going to get it for a few pages in a fight scene here, and then that's it. We're done with it. So I kind of intended to use this again in the fifth part, the United story. Da, 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 da. Excuse me. So I can kind of excuse not using the full environment under the excuse that we'll see it again in the next part. Because story-wise, in universe two, in the universe two TOO has as well, whatever um, we've only been dealing with a couple of weeks here. So the ladies behind this keep moving their operation relatively quick. They were set up in that that ugly 60s modern office building, and then when that got busted, they had to move out of there. And presumably, I guess if you piece everything together, I guess in the timeline is the office building gets busted, and then we see them heading up to West Springfield, where these kids went to retrieve the jobs and bring them back here and set up their new operation in this building, which isn't actually set up yet. So let me Control D and make sure these people are on the floor. I sort of love waiting for these images to render and then coming back and finding out I've got somebody floating above a floor. So we've seen the scientist character in their group, the one called Mona. Is that what she's called? I guess in Tyler's story, we've seen her using the lab at the place where he works. Whoops. I'm going to screw this up again, aren't I? Maybe not. It's like none. Okay, no, I got that right. Okay. So it's like, I guess the idea is like they had their operation set up in that office building, um, while at the same time she's using the lab at for Solix where Tyler works. But then after like police raid that place, presumably she's chased out, so they've got to set up operations here to continue their work. So I can close this. I sort of opened the previous page for reference. But it's the idea is if this place has already been compromised by these two, I've got to somehow leave this story where they're still able to use this warehouse in the next story. Because unlike the four stories that defined by each character, where so far in this series all four stories were running somewhat concurrently. The fifth story is going to pick up where these four leave off. The idea is we've seen each of these four characters working somewhat independently as these separate crime sprees are unfolding, these separate schemes and these separate issues. So the idea is in the fifth one, united, they're gonna we're gonna see them kind of joining together as they realize like all the schemes were as they realize like all the schemes are connected. All the big guys are going to work together to bring it down once and for all. Okay. Okay, that looks good. I know what I said about a little bit ago about um, showing the steps here. But there is something I want to see, something I want to do that this worked perfectly. And now, as I'm staging this picture, I'm beginning to wonder if that last picture that I just rendered might get cut. Maybe I won't use it. Because now I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm not really sure if it's going to add anything to this fight scene. So we'll see. I think this leg is bent a little too much. Bend the foot. Okay. Okay, these feet need to be bent a little more. And I think. Okay, we're getting there. Oops, I want the toes. Let's bend it like that. I don't know why I'm getting so hung up on his feet when I haven't really been worrying too much about everybody else, but I'm at the end of the day I'm not even going to see his feet, so that was pretty much a waste of time. This is going to be a narrow panel, so I've got to make sure that it's framed narrowly. Okay, what I'm going to do is take off the camera and go to perspective view so that I don't ruin that, because I like how that shot was lined up in the camera, so I'm going to preserve that by going back to perspective. I'm going to unparent this. And I'm going to do the same thing to the chair that I did to the palette. And we're going to lay it flat and drop it to the floor. Whoops. Not that we're going to see it here, but it'll save me the trouble of positioning this later. Let's see. Let's turn him 180. Delete the keys. Uh, oh, how about negative 90? Whoops, not 9. Negative 90. And we're gonna have him flying through the air. Raise him up just a little. And we're gonna bend everything to give it the appearance that he's kind of tumbling. And now the question is, I'm trying to visualize this. If his feet would be curving, if his legs would be curving downward, or if they would be up like this. Maybe a compromise like that. Now, let's go back to the camera a minute. And he keeps... No, you know what? I think he would be bent downward. But I think the feet need to be that. And grab the hand. Go grasp. Take the grasp off, sort of. Does that look good? Okay, so what I want to do here is this is going to be a layered shot. So let's collapse everybody. Oh, actually, let me get Chase out of the scene. Okay. And I want that door closed, so where are we building? Doors. Come on. Warehouse. We'll delete the key. Okay, so I think I want building expanded, but I want all this. I think if I take furniture off, okay. 72, this one, and Elliot, and then dump them into clothes. Okay. We will call that A. Whoops. A. And I'm assuming you've read this before watching the videos, so you've seen that there's dialogue over these pages, they're not completely dialogue free. It's unlike most of the time, what I've been doing is sort of working the little bits of dialogue into the pages. So I kind of need to see how the page turns out before creating the text, creating the word bubbles, and that sort of thing. So it's what we're going to see is I'm going to create these images first, and then we'll do all the text later. Once the page is positioned. There's the building. Now, what I'm going to do is this one or that guy? That guy. We'll unparent him, and let's take the whole building off. I will go B. And this may be one of those cases where I end up having to do a number of different attempts on this. Because I'm thinking that I can layer the furniture and the other two characters separately, together. So I need this guy and you. We go on parent. And then I need to put the building on in order to get the furniture. Furniture. I take structure off. And I need outdoor off. Sky off. Great. Okay, you off. This should accomplish what I need it to. So we go C. And we go File, Open as Layers. Blur. I want linear motion. Let's try 20. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. I think you get the idea that he's being hurled through the air, but you still clear enough to see him. And I think this will fit. I think this will layer properly is what I'm trying to say. Here's my layer. Now we come over here. Yep. File, Open as Layers. Or yeah, that's what I want to do. That's it perfectly. Whoops, cancel. So let's export that as There we go. What the heck? Oh, shoot. Oh, this is one of those cases where I forgot to renumber it. Okay, so we'll renumber this 87. And then I'll go back and renumber the layers. So let's close that. And hopefully this will fit in that scale. 33. Yeah, okay, that works. I don't know why that's funnier than it should be. Okay. Now, the challenge is putting everything back on. What is this? Oh, structure. And somebody needs to be unparented. Okay. Hmm. 90. Okay, yeah, that's what I want. Now we're going to drop him to the floor. This is probably going to be a waste of my time because I don't know if we'll actually see him. Nope. Okay. Um, okay, so what is the... Okay, so I want him out of the way. The idea is we're going to have him running so that we can kind of go into the warehouse. Um, so I know that much. Here's where I need to make sure his feet are touching the ground. Because here's where we're going to see him floating if they're not. Okay. Well, let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm running out of the. I think that's the other reason I haven't done too many videos is I don't really have too much to talk, and not really too much to talk about. So yeah, I'm sorry for going silent here. Uh, but, I really should say too. Like, also sorry for being silent in these 2 weeks. I've been like pushing through this. This isn't. Let's flatten the feet. Control D to the floor. Okay. Sort of like I know I make the excuses and explain what's going on in the videos, but I also know these are going to show up after the fact. Because I really hate excuses. I really do kind of hate excuses. So it's kind of like if I feel like if I update, give it, if I sort of update as to the slow progress of this, it's going to feel like that's all I'm doing is just making excuses. So it's like in the school of thought that it's better to say nothing, which probably isn't better, but oops, I wanted to go 180, not 90. Okay, there we go. So it's at least, when I complain here, you'll have the finished product to sort of mitigate the excuses that are coming. And this is coming, believe me. We're almost done. Like 5 more pages after this one. Right? Yeah. Oops, I don't want to grasp. That's the other thing I got to think about. I'm having so much fun with the fight scene. I got to make sure I leave myself enough time for the wrap up. He's going to come forward just a little. And actually, I think this is it, right? See, it's not enough. The shot's going to be on Elliot, but it's not enough that we just stage his scene. I've got to stage this one too, just for the background. So maybe in showing this, oh, I don't want to spread. I want to get off straight in. Maybe you can kind of appreciate the extra effort that goes into this portion of the story. Ugh. I'm not sure if we're going to see it, but I want his eyes off center. Okay. I sat and staged that. I still have no idea what these two are going to be doing. We're going to frame this, actually. I wonder. Yeah, probably not. Shoot. I wonder if I could do a wide shot like this. Yeah. Let me see. What do I want to have him do with this generic jock? Hmm. I'm going to turn off the frame for a moment. And let's go to perspective. I don't think that camera angle will last. I think it'll get moved, but I want to preserve it as much as possible. Um, what do you think? Hmm. The whole idea here is I'm just having fun showcasing them beat each other up. So it's like, what would be fun? Okay, I think I got it. Not that. No, it's twisted in, right? Control D. Let's see. Why? Okay. And it's again, I'm going through this trouble, and I'm probably not even going to see his feet. So let's just. Um, but come on, I need to move him. I think the shoulder needs to come forward too. And then let's. Okay, yeah, there we go. Let's grab the hand. Let's take off fist. Let's go. Where are we? Grasp. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Um, actually, let's go front back. Okay. I think. Um, okay. side. Okay. Okay, this, I think, let's see. I think this leg needs to come back. I think he's gonna have to look up, kind of surprised. Yeah, I think this is camera. Whoops. Let's put the aspect frame back on. I think can I get away with? Yeah, that's good. Ugh, stop that. Okay, I think that's what we want to do. Da, 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 da. Oh, actually, before I go doing that, let's make him visible. You know, I'm gonna regret not doing this now, so I might as well. And this chair. Let's see if we can't clean up this chair. Okay, that will work. And I did change this, right? Oh, nope, this is going to be 88 because I forgot to change it last time. I will render that. And while I'm thinking about it, let's go change all of these. 87, 87, 7. And dump them in there. Okay, why is that not? There we go. That was weird. Let's go layer to image size. New layer. Shrink. And select none. There we go. Yeah, this is still funny to me. I don't know why. Okay, you know what? Since I've got an idea of where these are going to go, let's start putting in the word. Um, okay, that didn't work. Undo. Control C. We'll try that again. Paste as new layer. There we go. Oops. Undo. You know, that whole thing, this whole thing about Control Z. This whole thing about West Springfield was supposed to be a joke that never really got made in Friends Forever, way back in Friends Forever. And in fact, I kind of had to go back and sort of rewrite a couple of the pages to remove the joke, or to remove the setup for the joke, I should say. It's the idea is that I think there was supposed to be this joke. I think originally they were supposed to be in. I think they were in Springfield, and the town where the neighboring town where Blue Star is located was supposed to be Springford. And there was always an intention that at some point Elliot kind of remarks on it. And either Brayton or Sydney makes the comment that it's something, that at the time the area was first settled, somebody loved springs. Springford, Springfield, and the county itself was supposed to be called Spring County. Maybe there's a spring somewhere around. Maybe there's lots of springs. Who knows? But it was like, it's one of those jokes where it it like this. It just never made it due to space, and it didn't really add anything to the story, so it got cut and without being missed. And like I said, I sort of renamed Springford into East Springfield and renamed Springfield into West Springfield so that it sort of made sense a little without the joke. What did I just do? Merge down. Okay. And now we will deal with this. Let's see. Oops. Forgot. From where I'm sitting, it's been so long since I've done a text bubble I almost forgot the standard. Okay, so now we will, let's see. Oh, I'm sort of using the text box as my guide, and it's not right. So, okay, select invert, edit, cut. Let's add a new layer, edit, not layer, new layer. I will invert this already. Layer to image size that. Invert, select grow. So, this is going slow. I really expected to have this sort of out on Patreon already, completed, formatted, etc. And that didn't happen. But at the rate I'm going, it's what is this, Wednesday? It's where I'm so close to, where I'm actually so close to finishing this. No matter how much I stall, I'll end up sitting up all night tomorrow if, to keep this from getting dragged out till Friday. Let's see, today's Wednesday, so I should get to 18, 19, 20. I should have pages 20 done, and then I'll probably, being so close, I'll force myself to sit down and finish it tomorrow, and then spend Friday doing covers. Paste is. And Saturday will be a combination of formatting and editing, sort of to make sure the text, to make sure everything is how I want it, all the text is right, kind of dig out. So hopefully fish out a lot of the spelling and grammar. I'll find him. I think this might be a case where I do this manually. Um, I don't know. Yeah, that's good. So this really should. So the covers, there won't be, the covers. When it comes time to do the all the stuff that comes after this, the covers, the formatting, and the editing, is all pretty. It's kind of standard. So and it's, unless I have like a really really bad night of sleep between here and there that throws it off, there shouldn't be any stalling. There shouldn't be anything to slow it down, etc., etc. So this really, really should be out. Um, Either this should be on Patreon either Saturday night or Sunday morning. And then, what do I want to do? New layer, because I forgot to save that other one. And then I will spend next week working on, or I should say working on the short story Teddy Bear before I go on to the fifth part of this one. Where we actually that now normally I think, if I remember rightly, the first short story, My Sort of Diet, was like probably a week and a half, in like the week and a half to 2 week range. Um, Sort of, I'm looking at the poll I put up on Patreon, and one of the options has now, as of, since I did the last video, one of the options has clearly moved ahead. Honestly, I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised at which one you guys favored. But, there's still enough people that selected the runner-up that, you haven't made the decision hard enough. It's like, well, I've got the clear front runner. Those of you who chose the second place, there's enough of you that you haven't made it. And, it's like, it hasn't made it an easy decision to say, okay, I'm going with this one. So, what do we got to save? So I'm planning on. So it's like, I think the direction you guys uh, have inspired me to go with. It could be a project that goes just a little bit longer, maybe in the 2 to 3 week range from start to finish. And I think you'll like it. What am I doing? Yeah, let's look at this page. Whee! That damned rat. After I went back to West Springfield for him, Chase is running out on me. I swear, after I beat up his friends, I'll find him and I'll make him pay, that coward. That's page 18. I know that was probably long and probably a lot of silent moments that didn't make this that interesting, but I hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope it kind of helps make the wait for the full story to be worth it. And I will see you guys later, and thank you.